Hey, how's it going, everybody? I just recently watched a YouTube video talking about different economic models. They went over, you know, capitalism, communism, and some experimental forms of anarchism, which, there haven't really been any successful attempts except for, I think, maybe one country did it for a little bit and it just kind of fell apart. Uh, we keep doing this tired cage match of capitalism versus communism, and then the anarchists jump in there too. And it's like, okay, cool fight, but why does nobody ask the obvious question? Like, if all of these economic models have like different issues for people, like, in capitalism, people feel like a wage slave. In communism, you don't get to own your own property. And in anarchy, I mean, what kind of immune system does it have to defend against chaos exactly? So what if the best economic model is already running everywhere underneath our feet? Nature has been doing large-scale resource allocation for a while now, like 3.8 billion years. And we've never really, thought to look there. And, granted, it's taken us a long time to put all the pieces together and figure out exactly what it's doing. But now that we have an idea, let's explore it. What we know so far is that nature doesn't need a central planner. It doesn't need price graphs on CNBC, and it doesn't pretend that infinite growth is normal on a finite planet. So today, I want to propose a new model, the mycelial economy. It's not a utopia. It's not some cult shit. It's just a better operating system. So here's the problem. These isms each solve one problem, and then they create another one. Capitalism, for instance, can allocate fast, but it also rewards extraction and externalities. In other words, going up to super rich motherfuckers, and you don't see this shit anymore. Then you have communism. It can coordinate big pushes, but it can get really brittle and bureaucratic and bloodbath. Then you have anarchy, which values freedom, but without a shared immune system. The best predator wins. So instead of arguing which one, wins, let's ask, what does nature optimize for? So nature's economy, what's it doing? Nature doesn't run on money. It runs on three real currencies: energy, the sun, plants, and food webs; nutrients, recycled through decay. Nothing at all goes away. Number three, information and feedback. So chemical signals, constraints, adaptation. And here's the key. Nature is regenerative by default because it closes loops. If we don't close loops, we get rot, economically and literally. The Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, it's a big UN-backed synthesis. It calls out things like nutrient cycling as foundational ecosystem functions. And modern circular economies work basically the way like this. It keeps materials in use and regenerates instead of this take, make, and waste. So what's the biological structure that best represents this logic? The fungal network, mushrooms. Plants trade carbon to fungi all the time. And then fungi help plants access nutrients like phosphorus. That trade relationship is real, and we've studied a lot now. This popular wood wide web, as scientists call it, the story gets over romanticized sometimes, because there's some claims about tree communication that are debated, but it doesn't kill the model. If anything, it makes it stronger, because we're not building a religion here. We're building engineering. We're copying the network logic here of distributed exchange, feedback, redundancy, and this is the biggest part, the anti-cheater mechanisms. Because nature is not naive. It's not stupid. It's not going to let itself get fucked over. So here's my Mesa patch. The human economies fail because they track one ledger, money. That's it. But a living economy needs three ledgers, like nature. The flow ledger, which is your trade. It's normal buying, selling, services, barter, move value. Then you have your trust ledger. That's your reputation, reliability, reciprocity, dispute history, kind of like your credit score, but local and human. Your regeneration ledger, the commons, work that keeps the system healthy, like repair, cleanup, caregiving, mentoring, training, conflict mediation. Money tracks ledger 1 pretty well, but most societies ignore 2 and 3. And then everybody acts shocked when everything becomes fragile, when it all falls apart, when people become lonely, and everything's extractive. So the way I'm thinking about it is like this. I want to call it like the hyphae and hearth. So like, how does all this work? What the fuck am I talking about? There's several mechanics at play here that I think could work. Mechanic A, a mutual credit, like a sap in a tree. Instead of everyone needing scarce dollars first, members of this new economy can trade using mutual credit. Your balance can go a bit negative within a limit, based on your trust and participation within the community. This isn't a theoretical thing. It really exists already in Switzerland, with the WIR system founded in the 1930s. This is the classic example, and research finds that the WIR activity is countercyclical. It tends to help businesses trade more when the economy slows down, when it needs it. Mechanic B would be the spore tithe, the commons fund, things for startups and whatnot. A tiny percent of transactions routes into a commons pool for tools, repairs, micro grants for these startup ideas that people might have, emergency support, and training. Think of it like the network reproduces itself. It grows a new capability. Mechanic C would be the decomposer rewards. Nature stays wealthy because waste becomes fuel. So we pay decomposer roles like repair work, refurbishing things, recycling, caregiving, conflict resolution. That's how you prevent the social rot. Mechanic D would be host sanctions, and this is the big one, anti-cheater immune system. In biology, mutualism stays stable because cheaters can be punished. One famous example of this that I read in a Nature article, I think it was called Host Sanctions and the Legume. Legumes can impose sanctions on rhizobia that don't deliver nitrogen like they're supposed to. A human equivalent of this is if a node repeatedly extracts and doesn't reciprocate, if it defaults, scams, chronic free riding, credit limits will shrink, fees rise, access reduces. It's not cruelty, it's an immune response. Mechanic E is the keystone dividends. Some roles stabilize everything disproportionately, like teachers, maintainers, organizers, mediators. The Commons Fund pays them consistently, so the people who hold reality together can survive. So, is this real? What's this based off of? What the fuck am I talking about? Mushroom economies. Like, what am I going on about? If you want the receipts, here are 3 solid pillars I can give you. Pillar number 1 is commons governance can work. Elinor Ostrom won the 2009 Nobel Prize in economics for showing how groups can successfully manage shared resources without privatization or top-down control. And researchers have surmised that design principles like boundaries, monitoring, graduated sanctions, practical governments are real. They're not just vibes. They're not just dancing with the mushrooms out here. They're making money. Pillar number 2 is the mutual credit systems that exist at scale already, like the WIR we talked about in Switzerland. It's been studied. It's long running since the 1930s with evidence of stabilizing countercyclical behavior. And then you have the Sardex in Sardinia. It's a business-to-business mutual credit network studied as a real economic circuit. Pillar number 3 is nature's logic is regenerative and loop-based. They have nutrient cycling. It's foundational to ecosystem function. Circular economy principles echo the same. Circulate and regenerate logic. Mycorrhizal trade relationships and the presence of cheater dynamics are actively studied in ecology. So no, this isn't just some hippy-dippy woo-woo fantasy economics. It's already happening in pieces. I'm just integrating it into one coherent model here. So how would this work in the real world? What would be a good pilot plan for this? If I were piloting this in real life, like a venue, a community hub, a town, this is the least dramatic rollout. You create credits, like a mutual credit for local members or vendors. And then you could have decomposer bounties, like if somebody wants to fix something or mop the floor or teach someone something or sing a song or do a dance or mentor someone, you can get these credits. A spore fund fed by tiny transaction ties for like little startups, little ideas that people have. A monthly fruiting night where you have 3 community pitches and then you can give out the micro grants. And then the 3-edge table. This is your dispute protocol where you can maintain your dignity, safety, and freedom. And we keep the tone experimental. You opt in if you want, and it's all totally transparent so you can see how it's operating. So you can already hear in the comment sections all of the objections. Is this fucking socialism? Are you trying to get us all lined up in a wall and shot? No, I'm not. And I don't want to take your property. I don't want to do any of that shit. This is just a network protocol. It can exist inside of markets, whatever markets you want. Is this capitalism? Well, no, it's not capitalism at all. Capitalism alone doesn't defend the commons from extraction. It doesn't care about that. It's trying to extract as much as possible from you and everybody and not give anything back. Is this replacing the dollar? Not necessarily. No. It's more of a complementary system that can coexist with it, like the WIR from Switzerland and the Sardex from Sardinia do. Won't the cheaters ruin it? Well, only if you refuse to build an immune system. Nature doesn't. It's got a great one. So should we. So here's sort of the thesis in a nutshell. A healthy economy isn't a money machine. It's a living metabolism that produces things. It produces a good future that everybody can walk on. If the Mesa I talk about, this idea that life itself is on this mesa and it can slide off if it doesn't pay attention. If it is a living being, the mycelium is the cortex. And if we want a future that doesn't spiral into extraction, poisoning all the water, destroying people's lives with meaningless work, loneliness, and collapse, well, we've got to stop worshiping the isms, the capitalism, the communism, anarchism, and start copying ecosystems that have already figured this shit out. Like, we were trying to figure out how to fly. We looked at birds, and we kind of got the general idea. We had to tweak it a little bit with propellers and jet engines and whatnot, but we learned from it. We adapted it the best way we could with the materials and technology that we had. Now there's people flying all around the planet. We have to copy the ecosystem, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. It's mastered circulation, regeneration, feedback, and immune defense. If you guys are interested in this topic, I can do a follow-up with actual rule sets. We can talk about credit limits, the dispute protocol, how the spore fund pays out, or the startup fund, but I like the spore fund, and how to scale this without becoming a fucking bureaucracy. So yeah, like, subscribe, drop a comment. What role are you in the ecosystem? Are you a tree? Are you hyphae? Are you a spore? Are you a fruiting body? Or are you a decomposer? I don't know if I listed my sources here, but I think I did. If I didn't, I'll go back and drop my sources in the description. But thank you, everybody, for listening, and let me know what you think below. Thank you.